ఎవ్రీ చైల్డ్ ఇస్ ఎ విన్నర్. చదువులో, తెలివితేటల్లో, ఆలోచన విధానంలో, నాయకత్వ లక్షణాల్లో వారు ఏ రంగంలో ముందున్నారో గుర్తించి విజేతలుగా నిలపడమే ఉల్లంపర్రు మాంటెసోరీస్ ప్రత్యేకత. పాలకొల్లు పట్టణంలో ఉన్నత విద్యతో పాటు భవిష్యత్తులో బాగా సెటిల్ అవుతున్న వారిలో అత్యధికులు ఉల్లంపర్రు మాంటెసోరీస్ విద్యార్థులే.
Good morning students. I am Ananta, the teacher of Montessori's. Today I would like to explain you social subject for 7th class. Actually it is the bridge course. I am adding some more points of 8th class also into 7 as it is a bridge course. Now students, the lesson is establishment of British Empire in India. So we all know that Britishers had ruled our country more than 200 years. And they have introduced railways to us. They have introduced industries to Indians. So like that, the impact of British rule in India had led many changes in our country. So let me explain you that what made the Britishers to establish colony in India. That is establishment of their rule in India. Establishing colonies means what? Establishing their rule in another country. Like that, this establishing colonies had started to Europeans since 16th century. So let me tell you what made them to start the sea explorations to them. So generally, these are the continents of the world. You can see North America, South America, Europe, Asia, Africa, Australia, Antarctica. Of these 7 continents, you can see that here European countries. In European countries, the first industrial revolution was started in England. That is here you can see United Kingdom. We call the United Kingdom as England. Okay? See that. What made them to start trading with other countries? The first, when industrial revolution was started in 18th century. In 1750s, the first industrial revolution is started in the England. Then it was spread to Germany, Italy and some other countries of the Europe. Gradually, it was spread to other countries of the world. Then what made them to start trading activity? So let me show you that. This is Italy. Italy also one of the European country. Actually here the trading relations were started by the Arabs. By coming across the Mediterranean Sea and Red Sea like that, they started trading relations with other Asian countries. So gradually in Italy, Arabs have gained the popularity in trading relations. So most of the merchants and traders, when they go for overseas trade, they started earning huge profits, because overseas trade is not a simple task. They have to travel for some months on the seas to travel to other countries. So why did they prefer the overseas trade? Because if they go for overseas trade, they have to capture the items where they can available at cheap cost, and they have to sell in another country where they will get more profits. So this overseas trade can make them to earn more profits. So this made the Arabs to gain more popularity of the trade. As in this area, in Italy, in Roman Empire, you can say that Roman Empire here, it is one of the richest place in European countries. In the Roman Empire has more people, those involved in this overseas trade. Gradually in this area, in this place, traders are much wealthier than the kings also. What made them to enjoy the comfortable life as like kings here, that is overseas trade. But gradually this made the other European people to realize the importance of the trade. So this also made the other Europeans to think to go for the overseas trade, because earlier they did not have any idea of this overseas trade and they did not concentrate at all on this overseas trade. But once they realized the importance of the trade, they have to take further steps for the overseas trade. But what made them not to make use of this sea route? Because this sea route was already blocked by Arabs. They do not allow the Britishers to make use of the same sea route to go to other countries for overseas trade. It was blocked by Arabs, that is on the Mediterranean Sea and Red Sea. So there the government started appointing or recruiting some people to go for sea explorations. This idea made the European countries to search for new sea routes to other countries. So like that, a person, Christopher Columbus, he wanted to explore the sea route to India. So when he came across we started exploring on the Atlantic Ocean, he moved in one direction. Finally, he moved to the east like that. He thought that he wanted to reach the India. He is thinking that he is reaching India, but he reached the Caribbean islands of America. Like that, his sea exploration made him to find the sea route to America. Christopher Columbus. Who discovered the sea route to America? Christopher Columbus. After him, a Portuguese sailor, he wanted to go for finding the sea route to India. So he, in the year 1498, he started his exploration on the Atlantic Ocean by coming across the South Atlantic Ocean by crossing the Cape of Good Hope. What is Cape of Good Hope? It is the southernmost tip of Africa. So by moving on the sea route, finally he reached the India and they established this is the reason for establishing the sea route to trade relations with India to Portuguese. That is Portuguese sailor. His name is Vasco da Gama. He discovered sea route to India in 15th century. Is it clear? Now let me explain you that. From that time, these Europeans they wanted to explore the sea routes to other countries and they started going for overseas trade. So this idea made the Britishers to start trade relations with India. Okay, let me explain this establishment of British rule in India. In 1600 AD, British got the charter. Charter is permission. A permission from the Queen Elizabeth I to go for overseas trade. That is, they wanted to start a trade relations with other countries. So by making this effort, it want to go to other countries to get the materials that are available at cheap cost, and they wanted to sell in another country for more profits. So this made the Britishers to come to India and to establish their forts in India to continue their trade relations. But earlier I have already told you that when they started making use of the sea route on the Atlantic Ocean, in the Atlantic Ocean, already it was explored by Portuguese. So but Portuguese were established their fort in the Goa, and along with the Britishers, some other European companies also, some of the European traders, the trading company that was established by Britishers in India is English East India Company. That is English East India Company by English people, Britishers, people from England. Next one, it was followed by French East India Company also. People from France, they also want to extend their trade relations with India. So that is called, they have established the trading company, that is French East India Company. English East India Company, French East India Company. At the same time, people of Holland, they are called Dutch. People of Holland are called Dutch. So they also established the company Dutch. That is also one of the company established as like the English East India Company, French East India Company in India. So all these three countries, they are all wanted to compete with the same kind of goods in India. So at that time India was famous for its fine quality of silk and cotton and some other spices. Indian spices have great demand all over the world, which can attract the other countries to establish this, trade relations with India. So I want to show you some of the spices. So these are the spices. What makes the other country people to render their trade relations with India? Pepper. This is pepper. Next. These are cloves. I think you know cloves. These are cloves. Then cinnamon. Cardamom. See, you can see these are our Indian spices which have the great demand all over the world. Okay, these are the spices we can see in our kitchen. So these are the kitchen items. So these are the spices category. Spices which attracted the other countries to start trade relations with India. And India can produce the finest quality of silk and cotton. So when these countries are started trade relations with India, all these countries are competed with each other for the same kind of goods. And in between them, there are many fights, and they have maintained the army also. They have maintained the army as which led the competition in between these companies also. So gradually what happened, when they came to India, they have established their forts in India, and there onwards they wanted to continue their trade relations. So always they wanted to think that they wanted to drive away the another company. Their intention is they wanted to export more and more to their native area, their country. It's like that they used the army of their country. They have maintained their own army here. So like that they have demanded their government to send the army to fight against the another company. Just like English from the Britain, French East India Company troops from the France, like that Dutch from the Holland government. So gradually, because of the conflicts among these, finally it made the English East India Company to drive away the remaining two companies. So let me explain you what are the forces that helped the East India Company to capture our forts in India. So let me explain you that. Initially, when they started exporting the Indian goods to their native places, our Indian rulers, our local rulers are not allowed these members to maintain their own army in our country, because our Indian kings thought that it is very dangerous. It's a threat to our ruling, our country. So they thought that they don't want to allow these companies to establish their own military in India. But at the time of Mughal emperors, Shah Jahan and Aurangzeb, continuously they were defeated the East Indian Company and French East India Company troops several times. Even though they had taken the chance to enter into our country several times to capture many forts in India, they were not allowed at all. In many of the occasions, these are defeated in the hands of Mughal emperors, Mughal rulers also. But what happened gradually when the Mughal empire was broke into small kingdoms, it was given the chance to foreign companies to establish their rule gradually in India. How did it happen? When they wanted to capture the forts, our Indian rulers, after the Mughals, it was divided into small kingdoms, and in some of the areas they were declared as the independent Rajas and Nawabs. If you take the Nawab of Hyderabad, the Nawab of Awadh, so these places they were declared as the independent rulers, and by using the name of the Mughal rulers, they used to continue as the kings to those areas, Nawabs. But gradually they also too interested in the extending their trade relations with other countries. They wanted to earn the profits through these trade relations. So this made the given the chance to Britishers to understand the condition of India, to know the condition of Indians, and at that time within our country also people used to conquer the other areas, other kingdoms by declaring the wars. So when they wanted to occupy other areas, it was taken as an advantage to Britishers to help one of the king and to demand the kingdoms as gifts from our Indian rulers. So because by giving the help to Indian rulers, they started acquiring the ownership on some of the kingdoms. So like that, there are some examples here. Here 3 maps I am showing you, the children. See the first map. The red color indicates some of the places, and here red and yellow color. You can see at the time of 1770s, at the time of 1770 AD, what are the yellow color parts are shaded here? These are the places under British rule. See that we can see very less number of places. Very few places of India were under the control of Britishers. So at the time of 1770, and red color indicates that red color area was not under the British rule. If you see, after few years, you can see in 1830s AD, we can see that some more kingdoms were changed under Britishers. So these were captured by the Britishers. Places we can see here. But coming to next area, almost half of the area of India was under British rule. In the first map, you can see that only few places, only 4. You can see here eastern portion, here north eastern portion, here this place, and here this is Madras province. These are the Srikakulam to Guntur present districts. Srikakulam, Vijayanagaram, Vishakhapatnam, West Godavari, East Godavari, Guntur. These places comes under Madras province. What we are calling the Madras as Chennai at present. Okay, these are the places, and these are some of the places, and you can see here Tamil Nadu and Karnataka area. Yes, so these are the initial places which were occupied by Britishers, and they have established their rule in these areas first. Next one, you can see the map of this. Here almost half of the places of India, they became the part of Britishers rule. Okay, they are colonized by Britishers in India. You can see what is great change you have observed in these 2 maps here. But by 1857 AD, you can see within 20 years of span, you can see that most of the areas became the part of British rule. You can see here what a great change you can observe here, because yellow color part indicates the places that are under the control of Britishers. Okay, clear all of you? So what was the instinct that gave the courage to Britishers? So in the year 1764 AD, the Nawab Anwaruddin Khan of Arcot of Tamil Nadu, Anwaruddin Khan of Arcot of Tamil Nadu, he declared the war against the French East India Company troops. Even the French East India Company troops have less army, they became victorious on the Nawab of Arcot. What made them to become victorious? That is, they have maintained the guns and cannons, and in that military they have the continuous drill every day, which made the troops to become stronger. So this was the first instinct. It gave courage to French troops to establish their power in India. So gradually all the East India companies that came from Europe, so they gained the power. As they have small troop of army, they became victorious in the hands of the Indian Rajas or Nawabs. So this first incident made them to get confidence to establish their control in India. Like that they have entered into India. Later, the Battle of Plassey. It is one of the important battle referred. Why? Because Battle of Plassey was fought in between the Nawab of Bengal, and Britishers. So it was the battle fought in between the Nawab of Bengal and British troops. Here also Britishers became successful by defeating the Bengal Nawab. So this is the initial time for the English East India Company to get confidence that they can establish and they can make use of each and every resource of India in a full way. So this was given the confidence. So gradually, once they started helping the Indian rulers, they started getting some provinces under their control as gifts. Some of the rulers, they started giving some territories. Some of the Indian rulers, they started giving the money to them. Like that, one of the Britisher who acquired more wealth from the Indian ruler is Duplex. Robert Duplex. He got more territories. He got 50,000 rupees for the troops. He also got 2 lakh money, Machilipatnam port under his control, as he was taken as a gift from the Indian rulers. So like that, gradually they started extending their power in India by capturing some of the ports in India. So this was the time they have captured more and more areas of India to make use of resources on a large scale. Who was Duplex? He was a governor of French East India Company. And whom did he help? He was helped the Muzaffar Jan to become the Nizam of Deccan. Muzaffar Jan. I have already told you what are Northern Sarkars. So there are some districts. They are under the part of Madras province. Muzaffar Jan became the Nizam of Deccan with the help of Britishers. So as for the help of Duplex, what did he give to them? In return, Muzaffar Jan gave the French some territories near Pondicherry and the town of Machilipatnam. He also given 50,000 rupees to the company, 2 lakh rupees for Jagir worth 1 lakh per year duplex. Like that, most of the wealth was drained away to this French East India Company. Next, the companies also began to acquire some small kingdoms. Like that, they started extending their control over many of the places of India. Like that, they started extending their control over many of the places of India, and in this part, they started exporting Indian things to their areas. They started developing their industries there. So gradually, they started establishing some industries and factories also in India. They have introduced railways. They have introduced English education in India. Like that, we have learned many things from British rule, but gradually it brought the awareness in the Indians that they don't want the foreign rule in our country, and some of the social reformers played very important role to make the Indians to get educated. Some of the educated people, they wanted to make the Indians to learn how we have been cheating in the hands of the Britishers. Like that, they have developed patriotism among the minds of the Indians. Finally, our great Indian struggle led to independence to India. Thank you.
ఎవ్రీ చైల్డ్ ఇస్ ఎ విన్నర్. చదువులో, తెలివితేటల్లో, ఆలోచన విధానంలో, నాయకత్వ లక్షణాల్లో వారు ఏ రంగంలో ముందున్నారో గుర్తించి విజేతలుగా నిలపడమే ఉల్లంపర్రు మాంటెసోరీస్ ప్రత్యేకత. పాలకొల్లు పట్టణంలో ఉన్నత విద్యతో పాటు భవిష్యత్తులో బాగా సెటిల్ అవుతున్న వారిలో అత్యధికులు ఉల్లంపర్రు మాంటెసోరీస్ విద్యార్థులే.